beautiful campus of Montclair State University, and we are going to take a roll call and then move on with introduce Shantae Palmer. Roll call.
Freeholders Octor, Bartlett.
Here.
Best. Duffy.
Here.
Lepore. Deputy Director James.
Here.
Director Lazare.
Here. Okay, I'd like to introduce Shantae Palmer to everyone. She's the Director of Government Relations up here at Montclair State University. And
hello, everyone. Good evening. Just wanted to take a few seconds to welcome you all to Montclair State University and bring warm welcomes on behalf of President Dr. Susan Cole. Welcome to our campus. I hope you enjoy yourselves, and thank you all for coming. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
Director, can you go ahead and present the
Shantae,
why don't you stay up here? We have a little gift for the university.
Yeah.
Amen?
Yes, I'm on.
Picture.
And we thank you so much for having us here today and being such welcome hosts to us. Thank you. Thank you.
Please come back.
Yours. And we will.
And I get to use it.
Can I use it? All right.
What do I do with it?
I'll take it.
Throw it out the window.
Did you hear that rude remark by Duffy?
Yeah. Microphone. Thank you. All right, Director, next on my agenda is the celebration and recognition of Columbus Day and Italian Heritage Month. Who's going to read the...
John.
Freeholder Bartlett is going to make a presentation to Dr. Teresa Fiore, the Insera Chair of the Italian and Italian-American Studies. She's the chair of the Italian and Italian-American Studies here at Montclair State University as Italian-American Heritage Month Woman of the Year in Passaic County. Dr. Fiore, congratulations. Freeholder Bartlett has promised to read the proclamation in Italian to you. So.
You really don't want me to do that. I can barely read a menu. But Dr. Fiore, it's a particular privilege to be here and recognize you and all that you've achieved, and I'm so glad to be the freeholder that has the opportunity to read this proclamation into the record because my wife is also a scholar. She teaches at Fairleigh Dickinson University and in fact writes about the transnational experiences and immigration stories of Indian Americans. So similar to your work, and I was fascinated as I read this proclamation, and I'm pleased to be able to read it into the record as we present it to you here tonight. So, whereas, in recognition of the outstanding achievements and contributions made by many exceptional Italian Americans over the years, the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Passaic deems it fitting and appropriate to recognize Dr. Teresa Fiore during its Columbus Day and Italian American Heritage Celebration. And whereas Dr. Fiore received her bachelor's degree in modern foreign languages and literatures from the University of Trieste in Italy, a master's degree in English and comparative literature from San Diego State University, oh, beautiful, and her, yeah, absolutely, and her certainly better weather than we've had here this summer. And her PhD in the Literature Department at the University of California, San Diego. She is the recipient of several fellowships, including the DeBosis Fellowship at Harvard University, the Rockefeller at Bellagio, and the Fulbright Fellowship. She served as a visiting assistant professor at Harvard University, my law school alma mater, at New York University and at Rutgers University, and has been a visiting fellow at the Center for European and Mediterranean Studies at New York University. And she is also a member of the Seminar in Modern Italian Studies at Columbia University. And whereas Dr. Teresa Fiore is the first and current chair of Insera Italian and Italian American Studies and has served in that position since 2011. She also serves as an associate professor of Italian in the Department of Spanish and Italian at Montclair State University, where her teaching and research interests include 19th, 20th, and 21st century Italian literature, Italian cinema, Italian American culture, and immigration in contemporary Italy, with a theoretical focus on space. And whereas the Teresa and Lawrence R. Insera Endowed Chair was created through a major gift of Lawrence R. Insera Jr. and has received the support of UNICO national and individual donors. And whereas, besides the regular duties of a professor, such as teaching, research, and service, the responsibilities of Dr. Fiore as Insera Chair include the development of research projects, cultural programs, and educational activities vital to the continued growth of Italian and Italian American studies at Montclair State University. And whereas Dr. Fiore's essays on issues of Italian migration, space, and identity have appeared in Italian, English, and Spanish, both in journals and edited books, and recent publications in edited volumes include essays on contemporary immigration from Italy to the U.S., as well as an article on migrant detention camps as represented in film. And whereas Dr. Teresa Fiore is the author of Preoccupied Spaces, Remapping Italy's Transnational Migrations and Colonial Legacies, which was awarded the 2017 AAIS American Association of Italian Studies Book Prize in the 20th and 21st centuries category, and is the 2018 recipient of an honorable mention at the Modern Language Association. Now, therefore be it proclaimed, and that's how you know I'm almost done. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Passaic that it hereby publicly recognizes Dr. Teresa Fiore for the significant contributions she has made and the exemplary service she has unselfishly devoted to the County of Passaic, and be it further proclaimed that this Board extends its sincere best wishes to her for continued success in all her future endeavors. Dr. Fiore.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Please, should she speak from, Anthony, should she speak from there or from right here? Yeah, why don't you say a few words?
I'm fine also from here.
Okay, well, that's fine. Go for it.
Well, first of all, thank you very much. It's an extreme pleasure to receive this recognition. I like in particular the fact that it comes from a body of elected officials. Very often these recognitions come from organizations that are Italian or Italian American, and for me it means even more in the sense that, as it was just said, I do believe in exchanges across different cultures. I do believe in mobility across borders, and so I want for this celebration to really be seen as something that goes beyond the specificity of this ethnicity and really opens dialogues across different communities. I'm also married to an Indian, so we have more in common than we think than we knew before. And this is an occasion to invite you to all the programs that are made possible by the incredible generosity of Mr. Insera. We have all kinds of free programs open to the public in theater, film, food, business, and so please join us. I'm also pleased to let you know that I take the students to Patterson to learn about the history of Italian immigrants, in particular in the silk industry. So there's already an established relationship, and I hope that we can renew it and refresh it over time thanks to this recognition. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Sure, but how can we do these?
When are we doing pictures at the end? Now or at the end? Pat, I'm going to leave this here.
Our next proclamation will be given out by Freeholder Pat Lepore, recognizing the Yogi Berra Museum and Learning Center as the Italian American Heritage Month Organization of the Year. We are honored to have with us here the Executive Director, Eve Shanin. Did I say that right? Close? Yeah, it's pretty good. All right.
It gives me great pleasure to present you with this proclamation. Yogi is someone that I kind of sort of grew up with. I was a big fan of his, and I'm very excited over the fact that they put a museum right here in Passaic County on the beautiful campus here at Montclair. Whereas in recognition of the outstanding achievements and contributions made by many exceptional Italian Americans over the years, the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Passaic deems it fitting and appropriate to recognize the Yogi Berra Museum and Learning Center during Columbus Day, the Italian Heritage Celebration. The Yogi Berra Museum and Learning Center is a nonprofit sports education organization on the campus of Montclair State University. Its mission is to sustain the values that made Yogi Berra a national treasure: respect, teamwork, perseverance, and excellence through inclusive, culturally diverse, sports-based education exhibitions and programs. The Yogi Berra Museum welcomes thousands of visitors annually who come to celebrate Yogi's legacy as an outstanding athlete and individual. The museum uses baseball as a vehicle for learning and provides interdisciplinary and series education programs to schools throughout the tri-state area, weaving together curricular content that includes STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, language arts, and character education. In support of Yogi's legacy of acceptance and inclusion, the museum maintains a policy that no school or group is turned away by the inability to pay for the programs. During the summer, the museum offers baseball and softball camps that focus on fundamentals, sportsmanship, and fun, where half of the campers attend on full scholarships. Beyond the outreach to the general public and extensive educational initiatives, the museum engages in targeted outreach to the veterans community in recognition of Yogi's service at D-Day. The programs for active and former military include an annual Veterans Resources Fair hosted by the museum, offering pro bono services and support to military families, as well as hosting the New Jersey Distinguished Service Medal Ceremony in cooperation with the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Passaic that it publicly recognizes the Yogi Berra Museum and Learning Center for the significant contributions it has made and the exemplary service it has unselfishly devoted to the County of Passaic. Be it further proclaimed that this board extends its best wishes to the Yogi Berra Museum and Learning Center for continued success.
I wasn't prepared to say a few words, but I will always say a few words on behalf of the museum. First of all, thank you so much for this honor. I think, 3 years ago, almost a couple of weeks ago, 3 years ago, Yogi passed away, and it was uncertain what the museum's future would be. I'm proud to say 2 weeks ago, we celebrated our third Yogi Tribute Day and had a higher attendance than in the entire history of the museum. Close to 1,000 people came in a single day to celebrate Yogi's legacy, not just as a terrific athlete, but as a remarkable person. And it's very fitting to receive this award today because we have just in the process of launching a new education curriculum based on Yogi's story as an immigrant. We just received in the mail the ship's manifest from Pietro Berra, who came through Ellis Island from Milan. So we all sort of, we need to talk. It's a fascinating piece of Yogi's story, and it just is an indicator of how we're using every aspect of his life, this remarkable, iconic American story, to teach young people and to keep the legacy moving forward and the values that he represents. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Freeholders?
Coach, coach.
Coach. That's where I could hear when I would leave messages.
Got it.
Coach.
All right, and then finally, unfortunately, Dr. Marianne Ray could not be here this evening, but she is also being honored as our Italian American Heritage Woman of the Year here in Passaic County. Dr. Marianne Ray is the director of the Joseph and Elda Coccia Institute here at Montclair State University. So I think we'll just read the proclamation into the record if you like, Director, and
Of course.
then we can move on.
Whereas, in recognition of the outstanding achievements and contributions made by many exceptional Italian Americans over the years, the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Passaic deems it fitting and appropriate to recognize Dr. Mary Ann Ray during its Columbus Day and Italian American Heritage Celebration. And whereas Dr. Mary Ann Ray earned her Ph.D. in sociology from St. John's University, where she had also been awarded her B.A. summa cum laude, and whereas Dr. Mary Ann Ray is a director of the Joseph and Elda Coccia Institute for the Italian Experience in America at Montclair State University, a component of Montclair State University's College of Humanities and Social Sciences, which is named in honor of its founder, Cavalier Joseph Coccia Jr., and his wife, Elda. And whereas the Coccia Institute and Montclair State University share the vision for an entity with the flexibility to respond to new opportunities, as well as network and collaborate with existing organizations in areas of shared interest. And whereas Dr. Mary Ann Ray, along with the Coccias and the university, welcomes promising new concepts that support the Institute's mission. And whereas the Joseph and Elda Coccia Institute will continue under the guidance of its director, Dr. Mary Ann Ray, to enrich both adults and students who wish to experience all things Italian, with the many sponsored events and programs. And whereas founder Cavalier Joseph Coccia Jr. left a gift that will keep on giving in perpetuity, and the Institute will not only continue, but move forward with the same passion and drive under the guidance of Dr. Mary Ann Ray. And it will continue to flourish in its mission of preserving, promoting, and protecting the rich Italian heritage and culture by passing the torch to future generations through education and fine programs the Coccia Institute offers at Montclair State University. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Passaic that it hereby publicly recognizes Dr. Mary Ann Ray for the significant contributions she has made and the exemplary service she has unselfishly devoted to the County of Passaic. And be it further proclaimed that this board extends its sincere best wishes to her for continued success in all her future endeavors.
All right, next I'm going to ask Donna Lorenzo to please come forward. She's the Director of Upward Bound Project here at MSU, and she will be presenting freeholder John Bartlett with the 2017 Guardian Award. You want to stay at the podium? Whichever you want to do.
Well, I want to thank the Passaic County Board of Freeholders for giving me this opportunity here to acknowledge and recognize a very special person that has been very supportive of Upward Bound Project, and I want to also extend a welcome. I work here at Montclair State University, so thank you for coming to this beautiful university. Over the years, he's no longer with us here at Montclair State University, my assistant director, Nelson Rodriguez, and he made a lot of outreach to the city of Patterson with our students. Upward Bound is a pre-college program that prepares students who are low income and first generation college bound to generate the skills and motivation needed to graduate from a post-secondary institution. And that, working with people in Patterson, we were fortunate as a project here at Montclair State University that Nelson Rodriguez had done a lot of work with Freeholder Bartlett. And for many years, he had attended our senior farewell where our students from Patterson in the program graduate and they acknowledge for the universities, the competitive universities that they've been accepted to. And Freeholder Bartlett has always been invited to our senior send-offs, and he's attended, and he's really been given some words of wisdom and encouragement, and his office has always been there for the project. And this is long overdue because we have an award that we call the Guardian Award. And it's an award that we don't give it every year, but we give it to people who deserve it at the year that we have our senior send-off. So this is long overdue. He was supposed to get this award in 2017. For some reason, I cannot remember. I don't know if he was away traveling. However, I ran into some people recently and I told them that I had this award for him, and they invited me to the meeting today to give this. So, Montclair State University, College of Science and Mathematics Upward Bound Project presents the 2017 Guardian Award to Mr. John Bartlett, Passaic County Freeholder, for unyielding commitment, support, dedication, and service to the scholars of the Upward Bound Project. And then we signed it off with, "You are part of the village that empowers Patterson, New Jersey youth." And this was dated May 20th, 2017. So thank you, Freeholder.
Thank you. This is weird. I gave an award, now I'm accepting one. I don't remember why it was I couldn't join you on May 20th, 2017, but I remember it was the first time that I couldn't since becoming a freeholder, and I was very disappointed by that. Before I went to law school, I worked in Washington, D.C. at a small nonprofit organization called Fight Crime, Invest in Kids. And we were explaining to the United States Congress the research on what it takes to build success among young people, not just crime prevention, but the fact that modest investments and attention in young people at the middle school and high school age can bear fruit for their entire lives. And because of that, programs like Upward Bound are things that I always want to be supporting and working with when they're touching youth in Passaic County. And it means the world that you guys created this plaque for me last year, and I'm so glad that we were able to find a way to do this presentation right here at Montclair State, where so much of your important work happens, and where kids from places like Patterson get a first look at what it would be like to be in college and see themselves in a place like this. And that matters a great deal. And to everyone here from Montclair State, thank you for supporting Upward Bound and the good work that they do with young people in Patterson. So thank you so much, Don.
Okay, and now the last item on the agenda is a presentation of the Passaic County Jail, and I think Freeholder James, you're going to tee this up for us.
A number of years ago, about 3 years ago, Passaic County decided to try to do something in cooperation with our sheriff in the jail in treating inmates in-house that are county sentenced, so they're a year or less. It's minor drug offenses. But everybody's aware, I mean, you'd have to be in the forest somewhere. Everybody's aware that we have a crisis in this country and in our county with substance abuse. So the county decided to put together a team with the cooperation and the help of our warden and our sheriff. Warden Talrico, you want to stand up? Because I know you don't like this, but I think everybody should give you a round of applause. He is... And while you're standing, I'd like you to come up just to introduce the members who work on your staff, that are on your staff. who are involved in this program, because you're the boss, and I would really like you to be able to give them some credit for it.
Our mental health team from the Passaic County Jail, Patricia Mazalewski, Sarah Lombard, members from Passaic County One Stop, Alexis, and Lauren. Also from Eva's Village, we have Naeem. Sorry, I need to make notes for myself. Angela Terry. Vito up front. Vito. And Passaic County Workforce Director, Dewan Bogart. So I'm going to turn this over to... I'm going to turn this back over to Freeholder James.
So they weren't all in the jail, but they are in the jail, not in the jail. Most of them are working there. Dewan Bogart is our Director of Workforce Development, and he used to be at the One Stop Career Center. Dewan was responsible in the One Stop for a program that dealt with parolees. Those are people who were getting out of prison and had been there for quite a while. They have barriers when they're in prison when they get out to getting employment. Dewan would go to employers and talk them into hiring ex-offenders. And they wound up getting good employees, and then they hired more. But he was out in the field doing those things, so he started working with our reentry program. And the One Stop is an independent 501c. It's an independent nonprofit. When the opportunity came and he started running our One Stop program our reentry program, along with the people that you just heard introduced. We have very creative people in the jail, and it took a very creative person on our end to make this all work also, and that was Dewan Bogart. So I'm going to turn it over to him now, and you can, whatever order you chose to have people speak, I'm looking forward to hearing the presentation.
All right. Thank you. Now, I do supervise some of my staff, and I just want to say Alexis Generals and Lauren Sakamondo, they do a lot of the heavy lifting in 2018, and I'd like to say I appreciate you both. Thank you. Now, I'm going to turn it over to Officer Haji, and we're going to kick this off.
I'm going to stand over here. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Officer Hajisma. I'm the Passaic County Program Services and Reentry Coordinator at Passaic County Jail. And Dawn. I'm a little nervous, so bear with me. At the Passaic County Jail, we have reentry. We start off with anywhere from 364 days or less, preferably up to 60 days sentenced in Passaic County Jail. And we focus on inmates that are dealing with drug and alcohol use disorders, mental health issues, homelessness, unemployment, underemployment, and lack of community support. Once we research and interview these inmates, we go to the next step. Reentry helps them with stable housing, integrating back to community, employment, education, continue community treatment, building a stable and sober support system. Now, reentry has two phases, phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 starts at the Passaic County Jail level. Like I said before, it begins with participants' county sentence anywhere from 60 to 364 days, and sometimes we may have special cases where they're unsentenced. And then phase 2 continues with participants with 30 to 60 days prior to release, and also up to a year post-release. These are some of our statistics. The program started in November of 2014. From there to date, we had so far 196 participants. If you can see on the board, 23 were dismissed and discontinued. Currently, we have 15 members. If you see the numbers with rearrest between 2017 and 2018, 2018 is higher because of bail reform. They're leaving faster than we can help them, and they're coming back just as fast. Right now, I want to introduce Sarah Lombard. She's the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Coordinator. And Tricia. Tricia, come up, please. Sorry, Tricia. She's going to introduce the mental health portion of PrEP.
Hello. So these are just some general statistics here. Currently at PCJ, 23% of the inmates are seen by a mental health team for services. So this can include individual counseling, medication management, etc. PCJ medically treats approximately 25% of its population for substance dependency disorder. Again, that includes groups, individual counseling, and medication management. This is just, the bottom statistic is a self-reported study that approximately 85% of PCJ population prior to arrest would actually meet DSM criteria for a substance use disorder. So a lot of them, when they come in, they don't report use or they deny use, but a majority of them are. So of the total 196 PrEP participants, 63% of those were co-occurring. What co-occurring means is that they have both a mental health disorder as well as a substance use disorder. Right now there's 15 participants, and of those 15, 53% are co-occurring. So you see it's more than half. So unless mental health symptoms are addressed, their substance abuse treatment is not going to be as successful and increased risk for relapse. Mental health staff assesses co-occurring disorders, provides individual and group counseling sessions, and implements medication management, like I stated previously, to those who meet the criteria. And now I'm going to hand it over to Eva's Village.
Hi, I'm Vito Andresani, EVP of Integrated Health at Eva's Village. We are in the jail 3 days a week from 9:30 to 1:30 p.m. And we start off with a screening, which will then lead to a individualized service plan so that we can ready the client or the individual for the phase 2 part of the program. Individuals are once a week, and psychosocial classes are every day, two classes a day, the 3 days that we're there. So we start off with a comprehensive screening and assessment. We have a diagnostic interview. It goes to a comprehensive biopsychosocial, so we address the biology, the psychology, and the sociology of the individual and see what needs that individual may present so that we can work towards an individualized plan. And then we end it off with a diagnosis by a licensed clinician. We identify the inmate's priorities, problems, and barriers to be successful in reentry. And we also start recognizing where this person might be better served as we go on and as the individual is closer to being released. So the focus of the psychosocial classes are intended on the individual internalizing coping skills that will be needed after release. The topics that are addressed, we start with the disease concept of addiction, because most of our inmates have some type of diagnosis for substance abuse. We like to think about what's going to happen after release, so we talk about 12-step and also building self-esteem so that the person can understand why they're there. But we also address medication-assisted treatment because statistics have shown that recidivism goes down with medication-assisted treatment, and having less of a chance to relapse gives them more of a chance to build on other skills. We also combine it at Eva's Village with either outpatient treatment or the residential treatment through our halfway houses. So overall, these are the stats at the time that this was written. They're a little bit higher, not significant. Anyway, the overall PrEP participants are referred to Eva's Village from inception. We currently have a little bit more than 10. We help them in the halfway house for men, halfway house for women, or the outpatient services, as well as the medical clinic. We have a medical clinic. In the medical clinic, we do address the medication-assisted treatment, either Suboxone. They are started with Vivitrol in the jail. So what happens is in the jail, they receive their first shot of Vivitrol. That lasts roughly 30 days. A few days before release, they are transported to our clinic. They receive the second injection at Eva's Village, go back to the prison, to the jail, because they're still inmates. And when they are released, they're already in outpatient services. They already know where to receive outpatient services, and they've already received 2 shots of the Vivitrol. And at that point, they have roughly a month still, because the Vivitrol shot is given monthly. So there's plenty of time for them to orient themselves as they come out of the jail and get on with treatment services. In treatment services, we also address other issues that might come up. That's part of treatment. Also, as we are going ahead, what we're seeing is what we would like to do, what can be offered through EVA's, is 5 days a week, not 3 days a week, so that we could expand what we do in the psychosocial classes. Not only substance abuse. And also the focus would be the bridge that we could offer when somebody comes out of the jail. We, for example, have a culinary school. We have people that have graduated, came out of jail, went to culinary, received not only treatment, but went to culinary school, graduated as chefs. We'd like to see a lot more of that. And then we do offer all of our other services, from medical services to daily meals and temporary housing if needed. So we would like that expansion. It's possible, and it would better serve. Thanks.
Thanks, Vito. Good evening. My name is Duwan Bogert. I'm the Executive Director for the Workforce Development Board. I just want to talk about Phase 2. We monitored Phase 2, the Career Initiative, Passaic County Career Advancement and Re-Education Resources. That's basically a combination of a case management team utilizing the skills and resources of Passaic County One Stop in a guided force. So what we do, we work with our clients with that service plan that our Phase 1 puts together, and we make sure they're following those steps to get themselves healthy. While we're doing that, we're addressing legal issues on the one-on-one basis, as well as we're securing identification and any other birth records that they may need to move into the next steps, be it education, be it their search for work. Either one of those opportunities, they're going to require that. We offer mentoring also, just to make sure they're staying on a guided path, not just with the service plan, but just also in life. Our career counselors and our case management team, they're really thorough. They ask a lot of the questions. They make sure that they really fit the models and the profiles that they're looking to go down. Some of those models, as I said before, it's just the employment search process. Some of our guys, they want to get back to work. They have families, they have people, and what we want to do. We want to make sure that they're ready to actually maintain that job. So when they have that career in mind, we make sure they're going to career workshops, looking at a resume, making sure it's together. They're ready for interviews. They understand job survival tips and how important it is to show up on time and ask the questions. Moving forward from there, even deeper, we talk about an occupational training. Some of our team and some of our, and I say team, I call them our clients. We want to make sure that they understand that we're batting for them. So if they want that career that they think they couldn't have obtained before, we really put together a path. So some of our people want to get into CDL. They want to be able to drive. Some of them want to get into their Black Seal license, you name it. What we do, we sit down and we really talk about the path. If their background allows it, we make sure that they find the right grant and the right training that fits them. We don't only research the one-stop opportunities, we research a lot of reentry grants offered through the state of New Jersey for them, and we try to get them into the proper career model. So those are the three facets that we do. Just to give you an idea of some of the outcomes that we've had, for 2018, we've serviced 92 prep clients. Out of those 92, 73 have not recidivized. We have had 19 recidivism events. We have had 5 who've had more than one recidivism event. Looking at the numbers, we are doing some success. We are keeping our guys on the path. Now, another thing I will also mention, we have 19 of those 92 working in full-time employment. And they're working with stakeholders in our county who've given them opportunities because they've either spoken with myself. We also work with Lauren Murphy, the director at the One Stop. She has opportunities that she's helped create also. But the good thing we also have 12 of these gentlemen, and I say, we have more gentlemen than ladies, but I can say these 12 are gentlemen. These 12 gentlemen are actively searching for work, and they are actually out there reporting back to their case management team, telling us where they're going, telling us who they're seeing, and we can actually follow back up and speak to the community about some of their activity. It's been a real success and a pleasure to work with this Phase 2 initiative, but it starts with Phase 1. It starts with the team that we all saw today, because if the jail doesn't see the potential, if Eva's Village doesn't put the hard work in, it's 10 times harder for us to do anything at the last phase of this program. Thank you all, and if there's any questions, I guess we're going to go move to that portion.
I just want to, point out to people that our recidivism rate in this program is significantly higher than the normal recidivism rate. Warden, what does it cost per day to house an inmate? Do you have that off the top of your head? All right, so, everybody who doesn't go back, multiply that per day, per year, and the program pays for itself, and then some. So people who complain about it, it's well worth the cost of what we're doing, and we wind up saving lives. It reduces crime. The effects of this program, and it's just such a good program with the people that we have doing it. We're not allowing the warden to retire. I understand he might think he's going to retire, but we ripped up those papers, so you're still around. But I appreciate all of you. I think you deserve another round of applause for everybody who works in this program from every agency. You really do. And I thank you. Now, if anybody has any questions.
Well, I'd like to, first of all, echo what Freeholder James said and thank him for his leadership on this. This is something, when I first became a freeholder, that he really brought me in on, and I'm a big supporter of this program for just what, like he said, it's not only about changing people's lives and trying to keep them clean, but also it is a cost savings. It's better to, it costs less to try to educate people, to try to find them job training, than it is to imprison them and basically where they're earning, they have no net earnings and they're only costing the taxpayers money. So I do want to ask, Dewan, just looking at the statistics, it looks like the treatment numbers and the recidivism numbers are a lot better than the job placement numbers for these individuals. What are, other than the obvious in terms of that it's very hard for offenders to get back to society, what are some of the barriers, beyond the obvious, that are there? And also, what happens to the other individuals? It seems there's a large number of individuals out of the 92 that don't know if we have the numbers anymore, but other than 92, the great majority of them were not repeat offenders, but most of them didn't find other work, at least that we could identify. Are the others, the other 50 or so, are we still in touch with them? Do they potentially find employment and not tell us? What's their general status?
That's a great question. And I will say this. With the way this program works, some of our clients may have court-mandated treatment for a certain amount of time. Can you hear me? I'm sorry. Okay, but my apologies. We have, some of our clients have court-mandated treatment for a certain period of time. It could be up to 6 months, sometimes longer, depending their completion of the actual program. And you are correct, sometimes they are finding employment and we do have to track them down and go through that confirmation phase. But a lot of them are very, very receptive and they do provide us with information so we can confirm that employment. And I will say there are some who are struggling with employment. But another issue may be they're not completed some of the self-enrolled treatment. So they may be in between that phase of finding additional treatment or finding the right level of care for themselves to get back into the workforce.
Is there a area in which, like an area of employment, like a job sector, which is like more receptive to hiring them, or where we have better success with hiring? Is there any patterns that you've noticed, or is it just random in terms of where they're being placed or where they're being actually hired, where they're actually being accepted as hires?
We found in the hospitality field as well as the food service field, there's been a lot of success. We found, depending on their background, as I said before, transportation, logistics, there's been a level of success there. We've also found that in the construction field, depending on their background and their experience, not even so much the word certification, the word experience, because we have a lot of employers who will give them an opportunity if they can go and show their skills on site.
I have a question. Do you guide them toward, if they need a GED, do you have GED classes or ESL classes for them?
That's a great question, and that's how we work with the One Stop also. So we have had several of our clients who finished their HiSET, which is the GED, through the prep program upon completion. They may have started in the jail and then completed when they finished.
So you start the GED program in the jail?
Yes, we have GED program in a jail that runs 5 days a week, and we have an ESL class as well.
Oh, that's terrific.
They're also, we take a Medicaid application while they're in jail, so a lot of these things, because we work with the Board of Social Services too, these things are in place so that when they get out, they're not pending, but they're granted.
That's correct.
It gets them medical services. It's mandatory that they be referred to the One Stop so that they have an idea of what's available. It's not just one thing that's available. There's many things that are available, so we try to expose them and give them choices, and then guide them into those programs that either pay for it or provide that training.
Yeah, they sign a contract, and they know that they can't start phase one without completing phase two. They need both. They have to coexist with each other.
That notion of using the last 30 to 60 days in jail to get them ready for what comes next, I think is so important. Duan, I have a question. You mentioned transportation and logistics. You mentioned some graduates going on or trying to get their commercial driver's license. I know at one time driver's license suspension was a real challenge for people in reentry programs to get into things like CDL programs, things like even a lot of union apprenticeship programs require a valid driver's license. Are you finding that still to be a problem? And how do participants in the program, how do your clients deal with that?
There is a portion of our clients that have that issue, but there's a large portion who do not. They may have a small or minor municipal offense, and that's where our case management team will come in to help that situation be rectified pretty much either at no cost or at a reduced cost to them. And then we do have some who have had suspensions, and we work on a process if that's their long-term goal to try to find some short-term employment or to try to find an employment that makes the best sense while they work on that goal, because a lot of them can find expungement opportunities, a lot of them can work on getting their points down. There are several processes, but it does take time, and that's that career path plan that we'll put together for them.
We're using Vivitrol now, and we have I think the warden got a grant, if I recall. They came in for treatment some kind of...
Yeah. Warden, you want to speak on that?
Yes, sir. Last year, we received a grant from the New Jersey Department of Corrections. It was a $200,000 grant to provide Medicaid-assisted treatment to inmates upon release from the jail. So what we did was we identified that our reentry program is best suited for that because we can, pick inmates that have a set release date and work backwards to provide the eligibility and treatment.
Would you just explain what that treatment, what that drug is, and what the use of it is?
There's a multitude. There's several drugs that can be utilized, but what we're using is, I think Vito had indicated earlier, Vivitrol is the medication. So it's basically a shot that's given to the inmates before they release from the jail, and the shot basically blocks them from getting high when they shoot heroin. So they walk out the door, they don't have the urge. Well, they may have the urge, but if they fall off the wagon, they won't feel the effects of the drug. That's it.
Thanks.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you all. Oh, there's food in the back. We all encourage you to go eat because there's a lot of food back there. We're going to move on with the agenda for now, but you can help yourself to food. Do we have any late starters or amendments?
Madam Director, I'm pleased to announce that tonight we do not have any late starters or amendments, nor do we need an executive session.
Okay, everybody had the opportunity to review the agenda K1 through K45? Okay. No questions? Okay, no reason to go into executive session. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yeah.
Freeholders, Octor.
Yes.
Bartlett.
Yes.
Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore.
Yes.
Deputy Director James.
Yes.
Director Lazare.
Yes. Okay, we're going to move onto our regular agenda. Could we have an announcement of the open public meeting law?
Ladies and gentlemen, the notice requirement of the Open Public Meetings Law has been satisfied, specifying the time, date, and location, including the annual notice, adopted at a reorganization meeting, filed with the county clerk, posted in the administration building, and mailed to 2 newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the law.
Roll call?
Freeholders, Octor.
Here.
Bartlett.
Here.
Best.
Here.
Duffy.
Here.
Lepore.
Here.
Deputy Director James.
Here.
Director Lazare.
Here. If everyone would join us to stand for the invocation.
Will you please bow your heads with me? Let us pray silently together, each one of us according to our individual beliefs. Let us offer thanks to the blessings of the fellowship around us. Let us be a source of hope for those in need and contentment for those who are lonely. Let us give gratitude for the opportunity to serve the residents of the great county of Passaic. Let the feeling of love, kindness, and well-directed yet gentle spirit always be reflected in our actions. Amen.
Please join me in pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Have a moment of silence to remember all the men and women who have died while serving in the United States Armed Forces. Thank you. Have a motion to approve the minutes of September 25th, 2018.
Make that motion.
Duffy and Octor.
Freeholders, Octor.
Yes.
Bartlett.
Yes.
Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore.
Abstain.
Deputy Director James.
Yes.
Director Lazare.
Yes. Have a motion to approve for the approval of the proclamations.
So moved.
Second.
Bartlett and
Duffy.
Duffy.
Freeholders, Octor.
Yes.
Bartlett.
Yes.
Best?
Yes.
Duffy?
Yes.
Lepore? Deputy Director James?
Yes.
Director Lazare?
Yes. Okay, freeholder reports. I guess I'll start. I just want to commend everyone who works on this reentry program. I think this reentry program demonstrates that we work in all levels of our county government in order to get the job done. And we work with the people who can provide the services to help those who are the most needy, who are challenged individuals. And it just speaks to the collaboration of everybody working to help that one person that may pull their life back together. You guys, you all do such a fantastic job. And you know what? Even if you help one person, it's one person that won't have to live in that type of an environment where it could be deadly to them. So I do thank you all for everything that you do. That's what Freeholder James.
Yeah, is this, just a question, is this video that you're doing able to be seen by Montclair State students? Well, I would double check for you too. My message is that a very important election is coming up next month, and on November 6th. And it's probably the most important election that students at Montclair State and anywhere else could ever vote in. So I would encourage people, registration, if you're not registered, the last day to register, I believe, is October 16th. And if you're not registered, please go register. And if you are going to be away, request a mail-in ballot. Otherwise, try to get to the polls and cast the vote. Your future depends upon what happens in this election. And I'm not telling you how to vote. I'm just encouraging you to please get to the polls. Take your lesson from the kids in Florida who are making sure that their fellow high school students go and vote. Let it be the same on college campuses throughout the United States, that everybody who is a student in a college campus goes on November 6th to the polls and votes. Thank you.
Okay.
Just as a mention that there in Little Falls, there's a polling place right here on campus, so really no excuse for students not to get out and vote.
Yes.
Say that again? The polling place, there's here on campus. Cases.
Sandy?
But,
Yes, sir, Freeholder Best.
I just wanted to commend our freeholder director and her team for an outstanding Paws in the Parks program that took place this weekend. This is our third or fourth?
Third.
This is the third annual Paws in the Parks, and each and every year it gets better and better. Last year it was extremely hot, and this year it was kind of rainy and wet. And when I pulled up, I didn't expect to see the crowd that I did, and I was just amazed about all of the dog lovers we have here in Passaic County, animal lovers, because it was also kittens as well. I seen a couple people with some bunnies, but you know, it was an awesome event. It was very fun. I took my kids, and we had a great time. So I just want to commend you and the entire team. I know you've been working on it for several months. Along with the support of several staff members and volunteers. So congratulations on a great program.
Oh, thank you. It was a labor of love. Freeholder,
yeah, no, I was, TJ knew to go out of order because he knew I was going to commend you for the great work you did on Paws in the Park, so I commend him for jumping ahead. But really, I think we all agree that it's a tremendous program, and it's something that people look forward to every year, and a great showcase for Gulfbrook Park, which I know we're all proud of. So we look forward to working for next year's program. I just wanted to mention that I will be speaking at the next Sixth Ward Association meeting on Thursday night to again update the community on the Lakeview Avenue improvement project that we're working on, which is very important to me because, like I've said, I know that the high rate of accidents have happened on Lakeview, which is a 4-lane road in Patterson, but a 2-lane road in Clifton. And in those 4 lanes, there's a lot of speeding, even akin to drag racing in the middle of the night. And so it's a safety hazard, but it's also a great opportunity to remake some blacktop into some green space and provide an amenity for the community. So I'm really excited about that project, and I'll be speaking about it on Thursday evening.
Where will this be taking place?
Oh, sorry, that'll be
What
at
time?
School 25. School 25 at 6 o'clock.
Schools?
We'll be making a presentation on the Lakeview Avenue
Great.
improvement project.
Okay. That's good.
Director, I obviously join my colleagues in giving you great credit for Paws in the Park. We have not had the best of luck with the weather when it comes to programs in our parks this summer. We lost 2 of our 4 days of the county fair to that terrible rain, and I was also pleasantly surprised by how many hundreds of dog owners we had out, dog owners and dog lovers
They're a hardy
for
bunch.
Paws in the Park. It was terrific.
Thank you.
And to put that in context, I want to acknowledge Kelly Raffel, who's here, whose exact title I always screw up, but in terms of programming in our parks here in Passaic County, we've gone from having a handful of concerts each summer 8 years ago with our County Parks Foundation to now having everything from the County Fair and Paws in the Park to Shakespeare in our parks, movies, concerts. This past weekend, Kelly and her team partnered with one of the local escape room or companies in our area to do escape rooms at the Dye Mansion with a revolutionary theme. The Dye Mansion, of course, in Wayne was George Washington's wartime headquarters in 1780. We're just doing tremendous numbers of different kinds of programming in our parks all throughout the spring, summer, and fall. And it gives me more and more to look forward to, and I just want to acknowledge our staff that makes that happen.
Anybody else? No?
I didn't have a very good time at the dog park the other day.
You didn't?
No. I didn't.
Didn't you go by the Puppy Kisses booth?
You once again did a great job there, Director.
Thank you.
Really.
It was a
That's
team
something
effort.
everyone looks forward to, and I commend you for and all the volunteers and the staff. One thing to report on: we're voting on this resolution for flu shots in collaboration with Walgreens. So I urge everyone to go out there and get your flu shot and have a healthy winter. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Director, the Finance and Administration Committee has 18 resolutions on the agenda this evening that represent the work of the committee and for the freeholders' consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Communications none. Can I have a motion to open up the public portion of the meeting?
Move it.
James and Octor?
Freeholders Actor.
Yes.
Bartlett.
Yes.
Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore.
Yes.
Deputy Director James.
Yes.
Director Lazare.
Yes. Anyone wishing to be heard can come up to the podium. You have 3 minutes, and just state your name and address before you start speaking.
If not, I'll give him the mic.
That microphone is on, sir.
Also, please sign in on the sheet of paper that's up there.
My name is William Seidowitz, West Milford. Oh, this pen is not working.
We'll get you another one.
Oh, it's got it. I got it. Yes. Thank you so much. Good evening, freeholders. Tonight, I will be proposing the idea of award system in Passaic County. I will be submitting this statement to be reflected in the minutes of this meeting. In West Milford, the idea of seceding from the county buzzes around every so often due to the opinion that towns like West Milford are underrepresented in county administration. I'm not a proponent of secession. I love Passaic County's history, its unique municipal identities, and most importantly, its diversity. I'd like to give the story of this diversity in numbers. Passaic County contains 501,226 residents over 16 municipalities. This averages to about 31,327 residents per municipality. However, 12 of those municipalities are well below this average. Bloomingdale, North Halden, and Prospect Park fall under 10,000 residents. Ringwood, Wanacue, Pompton Lakes, Little Falls, Woodland Park, and Totowa fall within 10 to 15,000 residents. Hawthorne is between 15 and 20,000 residents, and West Milford 20 to 25,000. In comparison, Patterson is approximately 4.67 times larger than the average municipal population. Within the context of at-large elections in such disparate population, individual community loyalties are lost. There was a time when the Freeholder Board was completely Republican. Now it's completely Democratic. In my opinion, party lines find no favor to the residents of Passaic County. Our communities, whether they be as small as Prospect Park or as large as Patterson, have specific needs that should be voiced by chosen community individuals. In order to promote a more representative administration, a ward system would spread the 7 freeholder seats throughout the county in order to reflect population and geography. Currently, the counties of Essex and Hudson utilize wards in their freeholder boards. Additionally, Wayne, Hawthorne, and Patterson utilize wards for their municipal electorate. I've handed to the board proposed districts based on either geography or population, which I will briefly explain aloud. In a 7-district model, Patterson, Clifton, Passaic, and Wayne would each retain 1 seat to reflect their larger populations. West Milford, Ringwood, Wanacue, Pompton Lakes, and Bloomingdale would represent the Highlands region of the county. Hawthorne, North Haledon, and Prospect Park would be another geographic seat. And lastly, Little Falls, Woodland Park, and Totowa would reserve the final seat of their region. In closing, just like the Virginia Plan and the New Jersey Plan led to the Connecticut Compromise between large and small states, a ward system in Passaic County will best represent and balance our population differences. My ultimate question to the Freeholder Board is, would you consider adopting a ward system in Passaic County? Why or why not? Thank you for your attention this evening, and God bless.
Thank you.
Ann Schnackenberg, 268 Washington Ave, Clifton, New Jersey. I'm happy to be here tonight at Montclair State University on this beautiful campus. I have 2 of my degrees from this school. It's a great school, and it's nice to be meeting with you here on top of the world. The photos I'm giving you are just to give you a visual on what's been going on with the Friends of Garrett Mountain Reservation and the help of Master Gardeners in working to replant the work on the restoration of the riparian area. That's the shoreline along Barber's Pond at Garrett Mountain Reservation. They're finishing the first phase. You see the finished product there and the people working in the 2 of the photos. The erosion control mat and native seeds have been planted, and native plants and wildflowers, plants that will attract birds and butterflies, are be on the way in the spring. And it's a great collaborative effort, and it's a great example of how we do better when we work together. And also, you'll be happy to see all the cattails and especially the beautiful, graceful water lilies that have returned to Barber's Pond since the dredging and installation of the aerators and fountains. You can see the photo and the reflections of the fountain and the white water lilies there. It's like a beautiful Monet painting. The water lilies were an unexpected benefit. So on that note, I just want to, I know that you put out bid for boats. I want you to keep in mind, please, that kayaks or canoes can glide through those beautiful water lilies. But paddle boats, you may have a problem in that they're going to get the tines and the paddles caught up in those. And while we're working there, we have so many people complimenting the beautiful look of the lake now, and they're so happy to see it, being refreshed and being brought back to nature. So we just want to say the people really, really enjoy the nature and the natural aspects of the pond. Thank you.
Carol Markison, Wayne, New Jersey. I'm here once again to discuss concerns with the April 2018 engineers report for centerline rumble strips on Colfax Road. And today I want to focus on the engineer's statement that Colfax was a systemic application of the rumble strips. So I typed in the web address that's cited right in the engineer's report, and it brings you to this page. And sure enough, on this page, it does talk about rumble strips being used in a systemic application. But they didn't tell you, freeholders, about this line. And this line states, transportation agencies, which is you, should consider centerline rumble strips for systemic safety projects, location-specific corridor safety improvements, and reconstruction or resurfacing projects. Now, that's 3 different types of projects, and of course that begs the question, do they tell you then what types of roads are best suited for which types of projects? And the answer to that question is yes, but you won't find it in the engineer's report. So if you use this link right at the bottom of the website that he cited, and you keep clicking around a little bit, you'll come to these pages. And this is the FHA technical advisories specifically relating to centerline rumble strips. And under recommendations, it actually talks about those 3 different types of projects and which roads are best suited for which ones. And it says, continuous centerline rumble strips should be considered for systemic safety projects, which is what the engineer tells you he used, on undivided rural roads with speed limits of 50 miles an hour or greater, where the lane plus shoulder width will be at least 14 feet. So let's take each 3 of those and compare them to Colfax. On undivided rural roads, well, that's not Colfax. Colfax is an urban road. So the FHA would not have recommended rumble strips on Colfax Road. With speed limits of 50 miles an hour or greater, well, when you put them on Colfax, the speed limit was only 45 miles an hour. And we've done something to improve the safety. We've got it down, the residents, to 35. So the FHA wouldn't have recommended rumble strips then or even now. The third thing is where the lane plus shoulder width will be at least 14 feet. Well, many residents already came before you and they said, particularly in front of their house, that the width of Colfax is under 14 feet, in some cases only 10. Now, the engineer report says that a systemic application was used to put centerline rumble strips on Colfax, but that is exactly the opposite of what the FHA says and recommends. Now, I know some of you have expressed your frustration with the fact that they even put them on Colfax, and if you're frustrated, this should infuriate you, because it really does me. Why weren't you even given this? It took very little research to get there, and I started with the website that the engineer cites. It's wrong that they're there. The FHA says that they shouldn't be there. And I think that the freeholders need to do the right thing now and remove them. Thank you.
Director, would I be out of line if I made a motion to have those rumble strips taken out, just on that road, Colfax Road? What would be the ramifications?
Freeholder, through you, Madam Director, through you to Freeholder Duffy. Right now, you're in all portion of the meeting, Freeholder, and it's not appropriate at this time during this session, at least to make such a motion. You need to go out of that, and then, if you want to make such a motion, it would be there would be more appropriate to do it at that point, sir.
All right, sir. Thank you.
I move we close public session. Anytime, clerk.
Now we're.
Thank you, madam.
Freeholders, Actor.
Yes.
Bartlett.
Yes.
Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore. Yes. Deputy Director James.
Yes.
Director Lazare.
Now, would it be appropriate time for me to make that motion?
Freeholder, the appropriate motion would be to add an item to the agenda, since you're about to go into your consent agenda. The appropriate motion would be to add an item to the, and you would need 5 votes to do that.
I would like to do that then.
So
To add it to the agenda.
You want to repeat your
Well, I'd like to have the rumble strips taken only out of Colfax Road in light of the information that this young lady just brought forward. I know it's been a contentious time, and I think that what she says is true, and I believe what she says is true. Then let's do what the residents are asking us, and let's show them that we're listening. And on that note, I'd like to ask my colleagues to support me. It won't be the end of the world, and it'll be a new beginning on Colfax Road for them. So I make that motion.
Director? I'm inclined to second Freeholder Duffy's motion, but I know that one of the outstanding questions that we've been discussing with staff is the question of issues of liability, where the county removes a safety improvement to a roadway. And I want to inquire of council whether that question has been resolved, and if so, what the answer is.
Madam Director, through you to Freeholder Bartlett. Right now, Freeholder, I don't know that that question has been resolved. It would be my suggestion that, if you don't mind holding on your motion, that it be referred to committee for a study on that, just to make a determination what that would mean liability-wise for the county, as I think Freeholder Bartlett is suggesting.
I can't say liability if we bring it back to the original roadway. And it's, she makes a great case that, the FHA, come on. They're saying that it doesn't belong there. I don't want to lose highway funds as well, but...
With all due respect, though, Freeholder, the FHA was the one that granted us the money and approved us putting the rumble strips. So while I understand that she read conflicting reports, I'd rather us hear from our professionals, our traffic engineers, to determine which of those statements are in fact true.
Okay, so how do we proceed with this?
Well, Freeholder, one of the issues that are before the board is whether or not the county would have to return the grant monies that were
right. I know that's been a discussion.
So, that's what I mean. That's one of the things I mean about the liability aspects of this. Now, again, obviously, you have the right to make the motion, but you might want to just consider that first.
Right, and it's not only returning the grant money, it's the paying to have it milled out, repaved, and return the money.
Well,
so it's
back to what Freeholder Bartlett asked through you, Director. This did come up before. We did ask for an opinion of whether or not there was a liability to the county should we remove them and there was an accident. I remember that discussion, so we're awaiting that answer from County Counsel's office. So would you please tell County Counsel's office, County Counsel, that we need an answer on that? Because I think everybody's looking to see what the liability would be.
And again, I don't know if the resident was here, but we did have our professionals sit before all of you and gave you the statement that they are warranted there, as much as people may not like them, but they are warranted there. So again, I think that question has been asked and answered. What this board decides to do is completely up to you, but I do believe that.
Well, I agree with you, Anthony, to an extent. I know that we received the April 2018 report from the engineer, now retired engineer Edmund, but I think it's clear that it was not inconsistent with the federal rules to put them in. My question is, now that it is as clear as it is that the residents don't want them, in what way can we get rid of them without either exposing the county to undue liability or sacrificing more cost or refund of money to the federal government that's necessary? I chair the Public Works Committee. I'd like to have this conversation in that committee with our professionals and bring it back to the board without objection from Freeholder Duffy.
And as a member of the Public Works Committee, I'd also like to bring it back to the committee, but I'd also have a number of other questions that we'd have to answer because, Administrator, correct me if I'm wrong, you can't just remove rumble strips. It's not, we keep saying you remove them, but as far as I understand, you can't just cut them out of the road or just paste the space back in. You would have to resurface the road, as I understand it.
Well, and again, I'm not an engineer, but I believe that they could be milled out and then that trench, if you will, would be repaved.
Okay, but there would be.
But again, we could keep bringing this back to committee and we could keep discussing it here, but I believe that, as far as the rumble strips being warranted at Colfax Ave, our professionals have given us that answer. Now, the liability issue from county council is a different story, but, and I don't know if there is if there is an answer to that question other than, God forbid, somebody got hurt on that road, we would find out, right? I don't think there's a clear-cut yes or no, do you have liability or don't you have liability?
Well, I think there's that question. I think there's the question of whether we'd have to return funds, and there's also the question of the cost and the time and the inconvenience to the residents.
Well, there's no question
there's
no question we would have to return money, and there's no question that there would be a cost to remove and
what that cost would be
and
and the
replace.
time and
I mean, we could.
because I imagine there'd be a number of residents upset on Colfax Road.
I mean, we certainly could probably get that estimate of cost.
Well, that's why I don't think.
But, and again, I would caution you as well that there are many other residents, although Colfax Avenue residents have been the most vocal coming to meetings, there are other communities where people are complaining about rumble strips, and I'm not so sure how you take them out in one place and not take them out anywhere else, right? I mean, if we're talking about because it's an inconvenience and the people of Colfax Avenue don't like the rumble strips, that's, to me anyway, from my professional opinion, not a justification. I get it and I appreciate it and I could sympathize, but it's not a justification to do it without doing it to anyone else who complains.
Can I make one other comment?
Yes.
Madam Director, through you, Freeholder James, one of the questions here is whether or not, if you conclude that the rumble strips are a dangerous condition to public property, all right, then you're in a situation, as the administrator indicates, that if you remove it from Colfax, why not on every road in this county?
First of all, you missed my whole question. I didn't ask you that question.
I'm
asked
not
you if
aware
there's
that-
a liability to us if we remove them and there's an accident. That was the discussion.
Well,
Not, you just reversed that completely. That's not the question that we asked you.
Well, again, I'm not aware of the question. This is the first time I'm hearing about that.
Well, I don't know whether you're in the audience or not. And no, you weren't acting as chief counsel in that meeting, but that's the question.
I will tomorrow inquire of the county council whether or not
Yeah.
what the status of that opinion is. I'll get back to you on that.
Thank you.
Is there an outstanding motion or not?
Director, I think this young lady has made a pretty good case of why we should remove those things, and she's made it months after months, almost a year better, and to no avail. And I think that something should be done there. And she makes a great case tonight. If I have to rescind this motion and say we're going to address it the next meeting, and we're going to either vote yay or nay, I want to know why. I want to know the ramifications. I want the neighbors here to understand why we did or why we didn't, because this is not fair to these people. And she makes a very good case tonight, and very professional. No one's up there, banging on the podium with their shoe. I mean, this is their neighborhood, and if it's not appropriate for that area, then take it out. We're listening. It shows that we're actually listening to people. And you can sue a ham sandwich. I know that. Come on, what are we doing here? We're afraid. So I will rescind that under the guise of we will readdress this the next meeting, and hopefully we have all our ducks in order to say yay or nay. And I would hope my colleagues say, unless you sway me differently, I want something done down there, please.
I hear you, and
So I will rescind that for the next meeting. This will come up, I hope. I won't have to push it forward, and I hope my colleagues, if it meets merit, let's do it.
we'll move it to committee, and we'll come back with some answers in 2 weeks when we reconvene at a freeholder meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. New business. Motion to move the personnel agenda? Oh, I'm sorry. A motion to close. Have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Make that motion.
Second.
Duffy and Apter. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even see. I thought I did that.
Freeholders, Apter.
Yes.
Bartlett.
Yes.
Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore.
Yes.
Deputy Director James.
Yes.
Director Lazare.
Yes. Have a motion to move the personnel agenda. Who is it?
Pat moves it, I have to say.
Pat,
I'll move the personnel.
Second.
Lepore, and James.
Sorry, Pat.
Freeholders, Apter.
Yes.
Bartlett.
Yes.
Best.
Yes.
Duffy?
Yes.
Lepore?
Yes.
Deputy Director James?
Yes.
Director Lazare?
Yes. Have a motion to move the bills.
I'll move the bills.
Second.
Lepore and James.
Freeholders, Actor?
Yes.
Bartlett?
Yes.
Best?
Yes.
Duffy?
Yes.
Lepore?
Yes.
Deputy Director James?
Yes.
Director Lazare?
Yes. Have a motion for certification of
Move-
payroll.
Move the certification of payroll.
Second.
Freeholders, Actor?
Yes.
Bartlett?
Yes.
Best?
Yes.
Duffy?
Yes.
Lepore?
Yes.
Deputy Director James?
Yes.
Director Lazare?
A receipt of departmental reports.
Received and filed.
Have a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Yes.
Just to answer the person who came up here, Terry Duffy is from West Milford. Sandy Lazara is from Little Falls. Assad is from Patterson, as well as TJ. John Bartlett's from Wayne, and I'm from Clifton. So Republicans would love to see what you say, but in terms of representing people in the county, we represent everybody. And we're glad to represent everybody, but the way that this electorate these people have been elected by all of the people in Passaic County pretty much represents the entire county. So the only people who would be looking to do this, and by the way, West Milford, Morris County didn't want West Milford, and if you left, you'd still be responsible for the debt. So I get what you're doing. When the Republicans were in control and had 12-0, the Democrats wanted to do that, and the Republicans said, absolutely not. So now that it's reversed, and there's a fair representation, both ethnically, religiously, and every other way you can think except party, we don't always agree. You just heard Terry with a different opinion than some of the other freeholders. But this is a fair representation. It has worked well, and the county's in the best shape it's ever been in its life in terms of bond rating, which means fiscal responsibility and fiscal position. So the answer that I would give you is no, we're not doing that.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Freeholders, Actor?
Yes.
Bartlett?
Yes.
Best?
Yes.
Duffy?
Yes.
Lepore?
Yes.
Deputy Director James?
Yes.
Director Lazare?
Yes. Thank you all for coming. Have some food.
Good night, everyone.